Namaste yogis, this is Crystal with Island Yoga here on the south end of Hilton Head Island, and today I'm going to guide you through a nice easy Yin to Yin style practice. So if you're not familiar with what Yin to Yin is, we're going to start with more of a flow for the first half, and then we're going to go into some deeper hip openers toward the second half. First, we're going to start by grounding a little bit here. So if you don't have props, like these yoga blocks here, you can always use some hard little cushions or pillows. Some people say that books work just as well, but if you do happen to have them, do have your yoga blocks handy. We're going to keep a lift in the heart. Legs can be extended or crossed. Shoulders come forward, up by the ears, back and down. Palms can face up or down. And you can flutter the eyes closed, maybe breathing from the back of the throat in through the nose and out through the nose. Maybe adding a little sound quality at the back of the throat, which sounds a little like the sound of the ocean. Keeping the eyes closed, we'll bring our hands to heart center, hands in prayer. And if you'd like, you can set an intention for your practice. This can be for yourself or for someone else. Maybe your intention is just moving mindfully today. Steady, normal breath as you do that. Bowing your head to seal the intention. And we'll flutter the eyes open. Let's start with 5 cycles of breath. Inhale, arms out. Exhale, arms back. Inhale, palms up. Exhale, arms back, lift your heart. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale out. Exhale back. Inhale, palms up. Exhale, arms back, lift. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale out. Exhale back. Inhale, palms up. Exhale, arms back, lift. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale out. Exhale back. Inhale, palms up. Exhale, arms back, lift. Exhale. Inhale out. Exhale back. Inhale, palms up. Exhale, arms back, lift. And exhale, hands to prayer. We're going to keep awareness of the heart space. Inhale. Sweep your arms up over your head. We're going to take an interlaced finger grip, and if you can, we'll flip the palms to face up. Inhale, lift the ribcage off the waist. And then exhale over to the left. Try to keep your chin away from your chest. Both sitting bones grounded evenly. So try not to lean too far to the working side. Think about twisting your heart open a little bit here. Going to the point where you can breathe normally and you can stay still. Come back to center. Inhale, lift. Exhale over to the right, same thing. Chin is away from your chest. Try not to round or bring the chin down. Chin is away from the chest. Long upper body and straight neck if you can. Come back to center. We're going to release right fingertips to the right. Lightly pull right ear away from right shoulder. We'll keep the chin parallel to the floor, but if this feels good, you can walk your fingers more to the side. Try to keep the teeth separated and the face relaxed. Yes, use your left hand to place the head back to center, opposite side. Left fingertips to the left, lightly pulling left ear away from left shoulder. Chin is away from the chest. So rather than downward pressure, we're just creating space in the side of the neck and the shoulder. Good. Use your hand to place the head back to center. We'll use the hands to close the knees. Swing your legs to one side. Make your way to tabletop. So on your tabletop, we want shoulders right above the wrists and your hips above the knees. We're going to make sure the fingers face forward. And if this is a little too much for your knees, you can always cushion it with a blanket if you have one. We're going to actively push the mat away from you, and we're going to take the body weight slightly inward to your index finger and thumb so that you're lighter through the pinkies. That's going to take pressure off this little bone here. We don't want to favor the outer edge of the hand. On an inhale, curl the toes under. Rock your tailbone up. Shine the collarbones forward as you lift your gaze. Exhale, point the toes away, push the mat away. Angry cat back or hips to heels if that feels good. Inhale forward, curl the toes, tailbone up. Draw an imaginary line on the ceiling with your nose as you lift your gaze. Take your time, no rush. Exhale, point the toes away, push the mat away, navel to the spine as you come back. Inhale forward, we're moving like a wave. Maybe oceany breath at the back of the throat. Exhale, point the toes away, push the mat away, you come back. 2 more, inhale takes you forward. Exhale back. Final cycle, inhale forward. Exhale back. Come back to your tabletop. If it's available today, we're going to take a wide-legged child's pose. So if you can, big toes touch, go wide with the knees. Send your hips to the heels. We'll walk the hands, arms forward. Third eye can come to either the mat or you can use a block or something else. I have neck pillows here. You can use a hard little cushion or pillow if you have one. You can also decide to bring your palms together and then release the thumbs to the back of the head or the neck. So if you're tight in the hips today, I'm going to invite you to maybe take this on your back. You can also use a block to support you as well, but I do prefer to take it on my back if it's just a little too much in my hips. So we're gonna lean back, big toes together, go wide with the knees. Pull the knees closer to the ground this way for a reclining version of child's pose. Otherwise, we're gonna take 10 breaths in that position with the big toes together. Today, I'm gonna create a little bit of traction, reaching forward with my palms as I reach the hips back towards the heels. And if the hips and heels don't touch, that's okay. Remember, this is all a breathing exercise, so maybe breathing into any tightness, sending your exhales to any special spots you might have today. Good. We're gonna walk or slide the hands closer to you so we can shift the body weight forward. So rather than tabletop, we are gonna take the hands further toward the head of the mat. If downward facing dog is just not working for you, just be mindful if you have any hand, wrist, shoulder, arm stuff. You can always skip it and come down to the knees or stay on the knees instead. Otherwise, we're going to resume that position with the hands, spread the fingers, knuckles are down and heel of the palm is down. Curl the toes under, sitting bones come up and back. Make your way to downward facing dog. It's our first one. So you can bend the knees and pedal the feet, whatever feels intuitive and nice here. And then we'll find stillness in your dog. Check out the feet. Your feet are about 2 fist distance apart from each other. Think about melting your heart to the thighs. So it's okay if you need to bend the knees, and it's okay if the heels do not quite make it to the floor or to your mat. We're thinking about tearing the mat apart in opposite directions, energetically sliding the hands away as you bring the heels down. Sitting bones to the sky. From the side, you look like an upside down V. You can look to your knees or to the belly. Keep awareness of the hands. Make sure you're not overdoing it in the hamstrings. Think more about lengthening the spine. All right, we're gonna come into our first forward fold. If it takes more than one step or you need to drop a knee, that's okay. Otherwise, look between your hands. Send the right foot forward and the left foot forward, forward fold. Bend your knees, belly tight. So if you need to bring the floor up to you, you can always use blocks or another prop to bring the floor up to you. As I'm sure you know, highest level is gonna be easiest. Mid-level more challenging, lowest level or no blocks, most challenging. Today I feel okay, so as much of a bend in the knees as you need to protect the hamstrings, and we always want to pull the belly in when we forward fold to protect the lower back, just letting the head hang heavy. Nice little tug on the cervical spine as we do that. And if this feels okay, we're going to take opposite elbows for a ragdoll. Maybe sway gently from side to side, decompression of the spine. We'll find stillness in this ragdoll and root to rise. Push through your feet, inhale, sweep your arms up and over, maybe palms press, gaze lifts. We want to lift ribcage off the waist so we come out of the lower lumbar spine. And exhale, release, arms down by your side. So I mentioned that lift in the back bend, and if you've taken my live classes before, I stress that because if you back bend improperly over time, it's gonna make your back feel crispy, and that's no good. We're about a third of the way down the mat or so. So if you can, in your Tadasana mountain pose, your big toes are together and your heels are together. For the first one, I like to shift the body weight forward and back. Bring awareness to all four corners of your feet. Your big toe, the little toe, and the 2 points of the heel. If you need a wider stance, you can always take it. Otherwise, small stance between the feet, lengthen the tail, keep a lift in the heart. We're creating a stack. Ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, and hips over the heels. So if you don't hear all the cues or they don't all make sense, that's okay. I'm going to say it over and over. And over time, we'll start to make those connections more and more. On an inhale, sweep the arms up over your head, maybe palms press, gaze lifts. Exhale, swan dive forward, bend your knees, belly tight. Fingertips or palms come to the mat. Inhale, half lift, long spine. Lengthen from tailbone through crown of head. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands, right foot back, left foot back, shoulders are above the wrists. We're actively pushing the mat away from you. Pull the belly in and take your gaze forward from tail through the crown. We want a nice straight line. So if this is too much, you can always drop down to your knees, especially if you have injuries in the hands, arms, or wrists. Don't forget, be nice to yourself. It's not about suffering your way through it. So if something feels not good, you can always skip it. Otherwise, pushing your heels to the back wall, pulling the belly and navel to the spine. And we're protracting the shoulders, which means we're puffing up the middle part of your spine, in between the shoulder blades, rather. All right, drop down to your knees. Keep the elbows in. So notice when I lower down that we're keeping the insides of the arms facing forward and the elbows close to the ribs. Come down to your chest and your chin. Release tops of the feet. Inhale, heart forward, shoulders back. You look up. Exhale, we lower down. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, lift, heart forward, shoulders back. Keep your belly button on the floor. Exhale, lower down. 1 more. Inhale, lift, let your spine do the work. And exhale, lower down. Curl the toes under. Sitting bones come up and back to your downward facing dog. Tear the mat apart in opposite directions. Try to keep your gaze to the thighs if you can. Spread the fingers. Inhale, bend your knees. And exhale, straighten the legs. Inhale, bend your knees. And exhale, straighten the legs. Look between your hands. Send right foot forward. Left foot forward, forward fold. If you have to move a bit more slowly, that's okay. Push through the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms up and over your head. Maybe palms press, gaze lifts. Right into the next one. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands. Right foot back, shoulders are above the wrist. Push the mat away from you. This is one of the best things you can do for your posture right here. So good for your abs. The reason it's good to work your abdominals is we protect the lower back. And we're breathing with ease, taking the gaze forward. Drop down to your knees. Keep the elbows in close to the ribs. They want to wing. Don't let them wing. Come down to your chest and your chin. Flat palms. Release tops of the feet. So not much is happening with the legs. Make sure you're using your spine here. We're thinking about pulling your heart through the window of your arms as you look up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Super light touch with the palms. We're using the hands for stability more than anything else. Exhale, lower. 1 more time, inhale, lift, breathe with ease. Exhale, lower down, curl the toes under. Sit bones come up and back, downward facing dog. Tear them out apart in opposite directions. Keep awareness of the hands here, and then we're going to shift our heels only to the right. Maybe you look under the right arm, maybe not, creating space in the left side body. Again, don't get fixated on sides. If you took the side that I'm not cueing you for, then we can take opposite side and I cue you for the next one. Come back to center, spread the fingers and shift opposite way this time with the left. Maybe you look under the right arm, maybe not. center, look between your hands, right foot forward, left foot forward, forward fold. This time we're gonna come into chair pose next. So if you can, the big toes are together and the heels are together. Don't forget, generous bend in the knees here. Back side is to the back wall. So if you can, toes, heels, knees together. Or take the stance that's correct for your body for today. Every day is going to be a little bit different. Don't forget, your shape does not have to look like mine or like it did yesterday. On an inhale, the arms come up. You're sitting in your invisible chair. If this is too much strain for your legs or the back, you can always have straighter legs. But over time, maybe sinking the back side back so that your knees are right above the ankles. Your weight is so much in the heels, you could lift the toes. If you tested it, we'll bring the toes back down. Just make sure we're thinking about bringing the shoulder blades down the back. We don't want the shoulders up by the ears. Think about bringing them further back. Pull the belly in, keep a lift in the heart. Exhale, sweep the arms back, you come over the legs. Inhale, arms come up for your chair. 2 more. Exhale, sweep the arms back. Inhale, arms come up for your chair. Last one, exhale, sweep the arms back. Inhale, arms come up for your chair. And then we're going to bring our hands to the heart, ground all over the right foot, send the left foot back. So we're in a high lunge, shoulders, hips, and toes all point forward. So if you don't have mirrors today, you are going by feel, but just make sure we're not twisting the hips. You might need to peel the right hip back so the left hip comes more forward. And over time, we're thinking about creating a bend in the knee above the ankle and in line with the second toe. So if maintaining the shape means having a bit of a straighter leg, that's fine. Or just energetically working in the direction of our intention today. So straight line, knee to ankle. If you need a wider stance between the legs, so 2 separate skis is what we're looking for, not one tightrope. And we're also thinking about sinking down with the lower half of the body as we lift rib cage off the waist with the upper half. Bring awareness to your feet. We're spreading the toes. Tack the big toes down. And we're going to try to keep this knee in line with the second toe. It takes inner thigh strength to do that. This knee likes to wibble wobble. So we're thinking about creating that straight line, breathing like it's easy. Yes. And we're going to lean forward, just 3 breaths here. If this is too much, you don't have to take it. Come back up to center. We're going to cactus the arms. Find your balance or the feet. So if having the back heel up very high is just too much, smaller step. The back heel can come closer to the mat or completely down if you're working on balance today. We're going to inhale, lean forward, elbows touch. Exhale, you lean back hard to the sky, shoulder blades closer together. Inhale, forward. Exhale, you lean back. Keep awareness of the breath. Inhale, forward. Yes, and exhale takes you back. Bring your hands to the hips. We're going to inhale, hover the back knee down. Exhale, push through the back heel, straighten. So it's driven mostly by the back knee, not much happening with the front leg. Inhale, hover. Exhale, straighten. You don't have to take all 3. Inhale, hover. And exhale, straighten. Remember, everything is optional, but not the breath. We're going to bring hands to the heart. Push off the back foot so that your left foot meets the right. And exhale, we release. Good. Notice the difference between both sides. Inhale, your arms come back up, chair pose. Small stance between the feet if you can, and the knees stay together. Exhale, sweep the arms back. You come over the legs. Inhale, arms up to your chair. Exhale, sweep the arms back. Inhale, arms come up. Last one, exhale, sweep the arms back. Inhale, arms come up. Yes. Bring your hands to the heart. This time we're grounding all over the left foot. Send the right foot back. As much of a stance, or as wide of a stance rather, as you need for today. And even though we're going by feel, if you don't have mirrors in front of you like I do today, shoulders, hips, and toes all face forward. Make sure you're not leaning too far forward. We're thinking about lifting rib cage off the waist, maybe sliding or heel toeing the front foot more forward so that your knee stays above the ankle and it likes to move. Try to keep it in line with the second toe. So if you notice you're twisty, just notice how you keep your hips and shoulders in one line as best as you can. All right, we're going to sink down with the lower half of the body as you lift your rib cage off of the waist with the upper half. And then we're going to lean forward. Just 3 breaths. One steady point of focus will help with the balance. You can always skip this if it's not serving you today. Come back to center. We're going to cactus the arms. Find your balance. Remember, if you need a smaller stance with the back foot or wider legs for more stability, that's okay. Bring awareness to all four corners of the foot. Probably you're wibble wobbly and favor the outer edge of the foot. Tack your big toes down, find your inner thigh strength. So it's a little bit of an elusive concept, but spiraling the inner thighs towards each other helps to create more stability for the legs. Inhale, you lean forward, elbows touch. Exhale, you lean back, heart to the sky, shoulder blades closer together. Inhale, forward, belly in. Exhale, you lean back. One more, inhale, lean forward. Exhale, you lean back. Yes, hands come to the hips if you can. Knee stays above the ankle. Inhale, hover the back knee down. Exhale, push with the back heel, straighten. Inhale, hover. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, hover. And exhale, straighten. Bring your hands to the heart. Push off the back foot so that right foot meets the left. And exhale, we release. Woo, yes. We're about a third of the way down the mat or so. So if you're working on balance and you need to use the wall as a prop, that's always okay. We want to be about arm's distance away, not too far away or too close. Just gauging that for yourself, but about arm's distance seems right for most bodies. Okay, we're gonna come into tree pose first. So if you've taken my classes before, you know the foundation of any balancing posture is going to be your foot. So spread the toes. Chances are you like the outer edge of the foot or the heel. So maybe bring the body weight inward and forward a little bit. And then think about keeping a stack, hip over knee, over ankle. So you can stay facing forward, but just keeping hip, knee, and ankle in one straight line, pulling up on your quads, the big muscles that lift the kneecap up to protect your hamstrings. We're also gonna think about pulling the belly into the back wall, and rather than rounding the spine, keeping the shoulders relaxed, one steady point of focus forward. So try not to unconsciously round. It's gonna make it harder for you to balance. All right, find stability all over the right foot. All right, from the foot all the way up to the crown. We're thinking about standing tall like a tree, belly in to take pressure off the knee joint. Maybe hands are on your hips, bottom of the left foot comes to the ankle. Above or below the knee, not directly on the knee joint. If you have a half lotus, you can always take it heel in line with the belly button. What keeps the foot there in a half lotus is hips continuously pushing forward, knee continuously pushing back. For me today, I'm gonna stay right here. And if you fall out, so that's okay. You can also decide to keep your toes on the ground like a little kickstand if you find that you're really working on balance today and wobbling a lot. That's always okay. Then you'll come to ankle above or below the knee or a different version. All right, maybe hands come to Namaskar, maybe not. Maybe you lift your gaze and maybe you grow your tree. Just make sure we're not sinking the weight in the heel. A lot of times I like to energetically lift the heel up or actually lift it. Breathing with ease. Remember, these shapes test how you breathe and what you're thinking about. Be nice to yourself. This is a practice and not a perfect. All right, if you took your gaze up, we'll take it forward. Hands come to your heart. Breathe and hold if you can. Exhale, we release, let it go. Bend your knees. We'll take the second side. So again, don't get fixated on sides. We're gonna ground all over the opposite foot. So for me, the left side, bottom of the right foot's ankle. Above or below the knee, not directly on the knee joint. If you have a half lotus, you can take it and just notice. Today I'm a little wobbly on this foot. Just make sure that we're doing our best to establish equitable weight distribution all over all four corners. And if that means falling out a lot, that's okay. We're gonna pull the belly in. Maybe hands come to the heart. Maybe you lift your gaze. And maybe you grow your tree. Breathing like it's easy. No matter what the shape looks like, we're gonna breathe with more ease, creating evenness in the body. No matter what the shape looks like. Remember, yoga is a forever journey. We never arrive. If you took your gaze up, we'll take it forward. Hands come to your heart. Breathe and hold if you can. And exhale, we release. Yes, bend your knees, let it go. We're gonna come into extended big toe pose next. So if extending the leg out is not happening, you don't have to extend the leg out. Remember, the foundation of the posture is going to be your foot, which is okay to stay in the foundation. Doesn't matter how long it takes. All right, maybe we're just hovering the left foot off the mat today. If you can get your knee hip level, you can decide to stay here. Remember, bringing awareness to the foot first and foremost, from the foot all the way up. This can be challenging here. Breathing with ease as we hold. Try not to get so fixated on the shape that you forget to breathe. That's what makes this yoga and not calisthenics, the breath work. If you have it available today, maybe right hand to the hip, left peace sign fingers, which is middle and index, hook the big toe from the inside for yogi toe grip. And if this is not working, just come back to your foundation. Otherwise, extend the leg forward. Maybe out to the side, woo. Arm goes out, shift your gaze, or not. If you took your gaze to the side, take it forward, hand to the hip, leg comes forward, bend your knee, and we release, let it go. Remember, both sides might be different, so you could take a different version on this side than you did for the last one. Ground all over the left foot. Maybe we're just hovering the left foot off the mat today. The right foot off the mat. Maybe we're pulling the knee closer to you. It's okay to stay here. Remember, we're not sinking the weight in the heel. You might need to energetically bring the body weight out of the heel a little bit. All right, if it's available today, left hand to the left hip, right peace sign fingers, hook the big toe from the inside. Try to keep your standing legs stable and straight from the foot all the way up. Remember, we're pulling up on your quads. Breathing with ease, moving with integrity. So it's okay if this version is not happening. If you took your gaze to the side, we'll take it forward. Hand to the hip. Leg comes forward. Bend your knee. And we release, let it go. All right, so we warmed up with a little bit of Vin, and then we're gonna start to come down for some hip openers for the yin portion of the class. So we're about a third of the way down the mat or so. Inhale up. Exhale, forward fold, fingertips come to the mat. We're going to send your right knee back so the left foot is forward. So if you have blocks today, you can go ahead and use them. Otherwise, you can use something else. So I prefer these lovely cork blocks, so you might prefer a harder surface just because it gives me more stability for my hands. If I were to use something a little bit less firm, I wouldn't feel as stable. But do what feels right for you for today. And if you did not have blocks available today, you can always take fists to the inside of the foot instead. All right, we're gonna straighten out the back leg and come up and down, optional opening for the right hip crease. And if that does not feel delicious, you can skip it. All right, we're going to find stillness with the back leg. The back knee comes down. I prefer to point the toes away. All right, so we're gonna start with dragon. So you don't have to use the blocks. Once again, you can stay lifted up. I do have my blocks available, so I will demo with the blocks. Keep in mind, if this is a bit much for the back knee, you can also use a blanket or a cushion to support the back knee. We will be holding this for an extended period of time. Traditionally, yin postures are held for a minimum of 2 minutes. So I'm going to hold for about 20 breaths for each posture today. So we're just going to go by feel and by the breath. So if you don't count exactly 20, I'm going to be counting about 20 breaths. It should be at least 2.5 minutes. We're gonna start in dragon pose first. So for your dragon, I'm gonna stay highest level with my blocks today. I'm gonna keep my knee right above the ankle. So that doesn't mean you have to dig the knee into the rib cage. You might need to move the foot further to the side to keep that straight line. That's okay. And maybe you stay lifted up, or maybe you lower down a little bit here. All right, I'm gonna give you the option to come into this version of dragon, or you can wing your dragon. Lift your toes, point them to the corner, come to the blade or the outer edge of your left foot. If that's not working, take option 1. Today I am going to wing my dragon, and I'm going to change the level of the blocks a little bit lower. So remember, no pain or strain in your yoga practice. If this is not serving you today to come as far forward, you can always exit. All right, from here, we're going to settle in for our 20 breaths. Remember, you can always come lower. Maybe you find that you're feeling more open as you hold. For me, that's a little too much, so I'm gonna stay right here. What you're doing with your gaze The tilt of the pelvis and your back knee is secondary to the sensation you're creating between left rib cage and left knee. Try to relax everything you do not need to use. Last few breaths here. Good. If you came onto the blade of the foot, you can come onto flat foot, putting some weight into the hands. We'll take the gaze forward or up for a breath or two. All right, I'm going to shift right block to the right, left block to the left, and heel toe the foot behind the right wrist. So maybe the shin comes parallel or parallelish to the top of the mat. For me, that's not the case. My foot is pretty close to the groin, and I'm noticing that my left glute is up. So if you have a blanket or a bolster or a cushion, you can always slide something underneath you for more support to bring the floor up to you and make the shape more sustainable. All right, be mindful that shoulders are right above the hips. A tendency here is to twist too far to the side. You might need to rotate the right hip down and forward, and just make sure the back leg foot is not sickling back. You can stay here in the back bend version of swan pose, or you can decide to take the upper body more forward. Coming onto elbows, doing what feels right with the gaze, tilt of the pelvis and back leg once again. So if this is not working for you, you can take figure 4 stretch on your back. It's normal as we hold our yin shapes for the mind to really wander. See if you can gently redirect your thoughts back to conscious breath, in through the nose and out through the nose. You can even set a mantra for yourself, like inhale let, exhale go, or you can count the duration in seconds of your inhales and match your exhales to it. So in yin, we want to find our 4 or 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. 1, you don't feel much. 10, it's just way too much. Find your 4 or 5 and stay there. So the idea behind yin energy, as opposed to the hatha tradition, is that we're using time in the posture and gravity to find space instead of muscle exertion. We'll take our last few breaths here. Yes, if you came into a sleeping swan version, you can walk yourself back, and if you can, I know it's tempting to release as quickly as you can, but see if you can take the gaze forward or up for a breath or two. And then we'll carefully move your props to the side if you did use them. You don't have to come out my way, but I'm going to cue you this way. I like to put weight in the hands. Curl right toes under, body weight right, and send the left leg back. Woo! Without thinking too much about it, you can bend the knees and pedal the feet. Just be mindful if you have furniture or walls or anything else around as you shift out. Sometimes I like to do some hip circles from a tabletop position. And then we'll find stillness here, right foot forward, left knee is back. Remember, you can always use fists instead of your blocks. 2 fists to the inside of the front foot. Today I am going to use my blocks because I have them handy. I'm gonna curl the back toes under, straighten out the back leg, come up and down. Optional opening for the left hip crease this time. You don't have to take it. And when you're ready, we're gonna drop the back knee down, point the back toes away. Ooh, knee pop. Knee's gonna be right above the ankle. Remember, just because you have the knee above the ankle doesn't mean you need to jam the leg into the rib cage. You might need to take it further to the side. Maybe you decide you wanna take the upper body more forward from this position. Today I am going to wing my dragon, lifting toes, pointing them to the corner, coming to the blade of the foot, and I'm just gonna gauge what it feels like today to come lower. Yes, so you can stay lifted up. Remember, both sides might be super different, and find your 4 or 5, stay there. We'll hold for 20 breaths or so. Try not to overcompensate for the difficulty of the stretch by tensing or clenching unrelated areas like your glutes, the back leg, your face. Try to keep the mouth spacious, the face relaxed. Coming back to your breath once again. You don't have to engage Ujjayi breath, that oceany breath, but it can stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. So your body can yield that much easier. Last couple breaths here. Yes, if you took the upper body more forward and came onto the blade of the foot, come onto flat foot. Put some weight into the hands, walking yourself back. We'll reposition the props or our hands. So if you were using just your fists, and I can demo that real fast, you'd have right fist to the right, left fist to the left, and just heel to the foot this way. We're gonna rotate the left hip down and forward, make sure we're not twisting the hips, and you can decide to support yourself with a block underneath the right glutes. Today I'm going to use my bolster. Remember, you can use a little pillow or cushion. If you have one, you can use a rolled up blanket or towel as well. All right, shoulders and hips nice and even. You can stay in this back bend version of swan, or you can decide to rest your forearms on blocks today. This feels okay to come a little further forward for me, so I'm going to bring my chest closer to the ground this way. So we'll hold for about 20 breaths here. Once again, doing what feels right with your gaze. Tilted the pelvis and back leg. Achieving more by doing less here. So do an honest self-scan. If something feels not quite right, you can come onto your back and take figure 4. You can take the upper body further back so that you're more upright, shoulders over hips. You can always come into child's pose, take a knee, or lie down on your back. Remember, be nice to yourself. That self-awareness and self-care is a huge part of your practice. Last couple breaths. Yes, if you came further forward, put some weight into the hands, walk yourself back if you can. We'll take the gaze forward or up for a breath or two. And then we'll carefully move our props just off to the side. You don't have to transition my way, but I will cue you this way. I like to put weight in the hands, curl back toes under, body weight left and send the right leg back. Without thinking too much about it, if you want to come out a different way, you can always do that. I'm going to do some hip circles, whatever feels good here. We're going to open up the shoulders. So if your knees need some more cushion, go ahead and use towel, blanket, or another prop to support the knees. We're going to come into puppy pose. We're just going to hold for 10 breaths in this one. We're going to keep the hips right above the knees. So just to show you from the side, hips right above the knees. And from that position, we're going to walk the hands, arms forward so your third eye comes to the mat. So forehead to the mat, or to a block, or to another prop. Sometimes it's nice to have something a little bit softer to support the head. All right, we're gonna hold here about 10 breaths. And if you need to release the elbows down, that's always okay to come down with the elbows. But over time, working really deeply into the shoulders. So working to maybe keep your arms straight. Feeling the expansion of the rib cage from front to back and side to side. Good. And slide the hands back just a few inches. We're going to come onto elbows, slide onto your belly. We're going to hold Sphinx pose for about 20 breaths or so, coming into a nice little back bend, correcting the alignment of your spine with this back bend as well. Keep in mind if you need to release before I cue you for it, that's always okay. Otherwise, shoulders are going to be right above the elbows. Fingers face forward like the Sphinx statue. So if this is too much strain on the lower back, you can always slide your hands, arms more forward. That'll take pressure off the lower back. If 20 breaths is just not working for you, you can always rest your head on the mat. I'm going to cue you for an intense back bend. So the motion we'll initiate is heart forward, gaze up and back. If that's a bit much, chin can be parallel to the floor. Chin can come down to your chest, or you can release for a few breaths, or you can skip it. We'll keep the legs, feet about mat's distance apart. If you do need something soft to slide under the pelvis, sometimes the hips dig into the mat. Today I feel okay, but sometimes the hips dig into the mat, so it can be nice to slide a little something under there to make it softer if you need. Otherwise, we're going to inhale, heart forward, gaze up and back, or close the eyes. Sometimes it's nice in a yin practice to take the journey inward. For me, it also really helps me focus a bit more on conscious breathing. So try to relax the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. We are using some muscle exertion here, but see if you can just allow the lower half of the body to stay neutral. Last couple breaths here. Good. If you need to exit the shape and rest your head, forehead to the mat or one ear to the mat, you can always do that. Otherwise, we're going to transition into seal for 20 breaths. So we're going to start in our Sphinx position. Simply slide the hands, arms forward so the arms are straight. The motion we're initiating is the same. Inhale, heart forward, head up and back. Doing what feels right with your gaze. And once again, I'm going to close my eyes. Try not to tense or clench in the glutes. Breathing with ease as we sit with sensation. So it's normal as we back bend to sometimes feel a little strange because intrinsically we're designed to protect the throat and heart space. So just giving yourself as much time as you need to ease your way into it, taking breaks as you feel is appropriate for you. So we also want to luxuriate in the stretch. Remember, no pain in your yoga practice. Stabby, shooty, electrical stuff, no good. Last few breaths. Good. Opening the eyes. If you fluttered the eyes closed, we'll bring our elbows down and then rest the forehead on the mat or one ear or temple to the mat if that feels better for you. Just allowing the back of the body to release. I'm just feeling that energetic shift that took place from that back bending that you just did. Good. We'll slide the hands under the shoulders. We'll push yourself back, and we're going to give ourselves enough space on the mat to come into a supported back bend next. So if you don't have blocks, you can always just come into fish pose. We're just going to hold for about 10 breaths or so. If you do have your blocks available, we're going to fashion a space behind us in the shape of a T, one to support your head and one for in between the shoulder blades. So for the head, and in between the shoulder blades. So if you do not have blocks today, you can use a cushion or something else to support your back and come into your back bend instead, or you can simply use your elbows for a fish pose instead. So I'm going to show you from the side just so you kind of get an idea of what it would look like. You would use your elbows. Fingers will face toward the backside. You'll lower onto your elbows. Heart lifts up. Head hangs up and back. So you can hold here for 10 breaths. You would release by bringing chin down to your chest and exiting the same way that you went in. Otherwise, we're going to fashion a space in the shape of a T behind you. All right, so one for the head, one for the shoulder blades. I'm going to make my way onto the blocks very, very carefully. Just adjusting the props as you need. And then from here, I'm just going to allow my shoulders to relax away from the ears. I like to have the palms face up. It's a little more energetically receptive. And if you do have your yoga blocks, just allowing the support of your props. Try not to resist that support. Sometimes the surrender is one of the more difficult parts of a slower practice like yin and restorative yoga. feeling some opening through the collarbones. Inhale, the belly rises. Exhale, the belly falls. Last couple of breaths. All right, I'm going to cue you with my words on how to exit. Use one hand to lift your head up off the prop. Lean into opposite elbows. You can push your way back up to seated. We're going to come into Baddha Konasana or butterfly pose next. So we just took a back bend. We're going to counter stretch with our forward fold. So if it's available today, we'll have the bottoms of the feet come together and the knees just come out to the side like a butterfly pose. Butterfly stance with the legs. So maybe you need to have blocks or something else support the knees on either side. For me today, this feels okay. Taking the feet further forward can make this a little easier. It also targets the outer edges of the legs more. If you bring the feet a little closer to the groin, it's more of a groin stretch. I'm going to take that version for today. So you have options here. You can decide to take fingertips to the mat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, walk yourself forward. You can take an interlace finger grip to seal the toes. Inhale, lift. Chin down to the chest and use your elbows to widen the knees. For me, I'm going to take a more passive version. And because I do have blocks, I'm just going to place one block between the feet and another block on top of that to support the head. If taking support for the head is too much, you can just bring your chin down to your chest. Sometimes coming a little too far forward just doesn't feel right, or you can just stack props until you can bring the floor up to you even more. So for me, this is about right. We're going to take an inhale up and then exhale, walk ourselves further forward. Does not matter how far forward we come. Try to keep shoulders relaxed. Again, if you don't have support for the head, chin can just come down to the chest to open up the back of the neck. Last couple breaths. Yes, if the palms are facing up, we'll flip them to face down. If you can, inch by inch, we'll walk ourselves back. Gradually, chin comes away from the chest. Take the gaze forward or up for a breath or two. Yes, we're going to make our way onto our back next. So you can move your props to the side. If you had any props behind you, you would remove those as well. We can gather the knees. Come all the way onto your back. Give yourself enough space so that you are on the mat still. All right, we're going to extend the right leg out long. Bend the left knee closer to you. Right hand comes to the knee. Knee goes right, arm goes left. Maybe you shift your gaze beyond your left fingertips. Try to keep both shoulders attached. If you want to take a variation, you can always do that. And if it's too much to take the complete spine twist and look beyond your left fingertips, you can take the gaze up, or you can close the eyes, collarbones face up. Neutralizing the spine as we start to close the practice. palms face down, left leg lifts up, point your toes. Fighting gravity just a little bit. We're gonna descend the leg. Controlled motion all the way down. Yes, bend your right knee closer to your chest. Take your left hand to the knee. Knee goes left, arm goes right. Maybe you shift your gaze beyond the right fingertips, maybe not. Today I'm gonna close my eyes. Yes. Come on to your back, palms face down. Right leg lifts up, point your toes. Controlled movement, lower the leg, fighting gravity just a bit as you come down. Yes. We're gonna come into banana pose next. So we're gonna start with the body straight. We're gonna hold 10 breaths per side here as well. So if you can, we'll grab opposite elbows over your head. The body is straight and about towards the center of the mat. We're going to shift legs, feet only to the upper left corner of your mat. And then upper body as well in the same direction. So you're shaped like a banana. Legs, feet, and upper body to the left. Bump your hips over to the right. And if it feels okay, we'll cross right ankle over the left. So we're gonna do our best to keep both hips attached to the mat. Chances are the right hip wants to come up, so if that's too much, you can just uncross the legs. I wanna feel a nice stretch along the right side body. Yes, if you cross the ankles, uncross. Coming back to that straight position toward the middle of the mat or so. And then we'll switch up the arms, whichever arm was on top. We're gonna switch it. All right, from here, we're going to move legs, feet to the upper right corner, upper body, same direction. So legs, feet, and upper body to the right. Bump your hips out to the left. And if it feels okay, cross left ankle over the right. Doing your best to keep both hips attached evenly. So for me, my left hip comes up a little bit, but we're just going to energetically maybe will it closer to the mat. Remember, the change happens micromillimeters at a time. It's how we create sustainable change for the body. So just be patient with yourself. Good things happen every time you practice. The last few breaths. Good. We're going to uncross the ankles, come back to center. All right, palms face down, both legs lift up. So if you need to exit a different way, you're welcome to roll onto your side and push your way up to seated, especially if you have back issues or any other injuries preventing you from rocking up to seated. Otherwise, we're going to use the weight of the legs to come back up. Let's come into a forward fold real quick. We're going to flex the toes back towards your face. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, walk yourself forward. Does not matter how far forward you come. Maybe chin comes down to the chest, but we don't want to round the upper spine. Think about lengthening the spine, so reaching the crown of the head beyond the toes, even if the chin is down. Good, relax the feet if you flex the toes back. We'll walk ourselves back, and your legs can stay out straight, or you can decide to cross them. If you need to take support for the knees, you can always take it. Today I feel okay, so I won't use the blocks. We're going to keep a lift in the heart. Shoulders come forward, up, back, and down. Bring your chin down to your chest. Keep the shoulders relaxed away from the ears. Left ear to the left shoulder. You can cradle the head with one hand if that feels better. Try not to bring the shoulders up with you. Head hangs back if it feels okay. Right ear to the right shoulder. Chin back down to your chest. Chin comes parallel to the floor. All right, we're going to reach the right arm across the chest. Use your left hand to pull the arm closer to you. And if it feels okay, we'll lightly pull the right shoulder back and down. Do what feels right with the gaze. We're just going to hold about 5 breaths or so here. Opposite side, left arm reaches across the body. Use the right hand to pull the arm a little closer to you. Maybe the left shoulder comes back and down. Pat yourself on the back with the right hand. Use your left hand to pull the elbow down a little bit, only if that feels okay. Maybe you lean over to the left. Come back to center. Left hand pat yourself on the back with left hand. Use your right hand to pull the elbow down. If it feels good, leaning to the right. Come back to center. We're going to release the hands at the knees, palms face up or down. Rolling the shoulders back, and we're going to finish with the breathing exercise. Normally I'll cue you to inhale through the nose and exhale out the nose. We're going to inhale through the nose and exhale out the mouth today. If you've taken my live class or classes, you can certainly, or you've certainly done this before. Otherwise, I'm just going to show you the first time so you get an idea of what it looks and sounds like. The inhale is going to be fingertips touch above the head. Maybe you lift your gaze. The exhale is an H-A-ha sound. Really using your abdominals to push the air out, lightly pressing the fingertips to the floor, just enough to keep a lift in the heart. Here we go. Inhale up, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, And exhale. Keep a lift in the heart. Bring your hands to heart center. Thumbs to the sternum. You can close the eyes. Take a moment to remember the intention you set at the start of class, if you did set one. So social distancing does not necessarily mean sacrificing self-care. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice. May the rest of your day be the best of your day. Namaste. Thank you so much, yogis. If you enjoyed this video, I will be posting daily. I will give you links, so more to follow on that. If you have not subscribed to my Island Yoga newsletter, you can shoot me an email, hhislandyoga@gmail.com. You can also visit our website at hhislandyoga.com. So hhislandyoga.com has our schedule. I'm not sure what the schedule will be for in-studio practice, so do follow me online. I will provide you links. If you've not subscribed to my newsletter, please visit hhislandyoga.com or send me an email at hhislandyoga@gmail.com. You can also text me at 803-420-2829. I welcome your feedback and your comments, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.